again and welcome along to Super League Raw News on the 14th of March. We're just hours away from round number 5 of the Betfred Super League. The greatest game on earth returns at 8 o'clock tonight. We just absolutely love Rugby League, we do. Or you could watch that Tim Lafay offload time after time after time. Great tries, bruising hits. It's Super League, isn't it? It's what we absolutely love. We're just hours away from the kickoff of round number 5. Will it come alive? Well, we'll find out, won't we? Now, if you weren't there on Tuesday night for Super League Raw Weekly, there was a massive announcement. There's never been a better time to become a member here at Super League Raw. The way you do it is you visit our Patreon website, Super League Raw, from as little as £2.99 a month. Not only can you get some great benefits, but also be involved in some incredible prizes. That's right, we are giving away 2 tickets to the Challenge Cup final on the 8th of June for our members. That's right. Absolutely outstanding prize, £2.99 a month, and you will be in the hat for 2 Challenge Cup final tickets on the 8th of June. The draw will take place the weekend of the semi-final. You really don't want to miss that opportunity. Another opportunity for you to win prizes will be the first ever Super League Raw Quiz Night. That's right, get it in your diary right now, Monday the 15th of April at 7:30 p.m. An interactive online quiz with Super League Raw. Do you think you know your rugby league? Well, that's the big question. More details to follow on that. Make sure you join us. Right, we're just moments away from round number 5. What a great game to kick it off a little bit later on. The Red Devils hosting the Warriors, the in-form Red Devils, of course. Then one of the games of the season, it always delivers this one. The Leeds Rhinos taking on St. Helens. Saints off the back of a loss last week, and Leeds at the moment in some really sparkling form. The Giants go up against Hull KR. Hull KR on a downward trajectory. Nobody saw that one coming, and the Giants, after a really convincing win last week against the Castleford Tigers, they'll be fancying that. Hull FC will go up against the Leopards. Both teams depleted. We'll hear more about that later on in this news update. The Dragons going up against the Tigers, and then bringing the curtain down, the Broncos and the Wolves. Now, there's not an awful lot of news over the Broncos and the Wolves at this time because it is, of course, the Sunday game. However, we can confirm Lachlan Fitzgibbon's out. He's back in Australia for family reasons, so he's expected to return quite quickly, but he's had to go back home. Nothing to worry about is what we're being told. If you Warrington fans are thinking he might be homesick, there's been a little bit of a bereavement in the family. He's back home for that, so we wish Lachlan and his family well as they come to terms with that loss. Also, of course, back for Warrington Wolves will be Joe Bullock, who had 2 brilliant games for Hull FC. He's been recalled because Gil Dudson has been allowed to leave, and it looks as though there's going to be a few more loans around the grounds as we go through the next couple of weeks. I heard Ian Watson speak about maybe getting Jake Bibby some time away from the club if the right loan opportunity became available for him. Of course, we will keep you posted on all of those things on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Make sure you keep an eye out on that, and if any press conferences do come about for the London and the Warrington game, we'll make sure that we share them. Right, as we go into round number 5. This is how the league looks. The Warriors, having only played 3 games, still are top. That's quite ominous for the rest of the league, isn't it? The Saints and the Dragons, it's the same top 3, albeit in a different order as we finished last season. Then it's the Wolves, the Rhinos and the Red Devils in those all-important top 6 spots. The Tigers and the Broncos continue to be at the bottom of the pile. Right, we're just hours away, 8 o'clock tonight at the Salford Community Stadium. It's the high-flying Salford Red Devils going up against, let's be honest, the colossal Wigan Warriors. Brilliant form at the moment. The Red Devils, that win against the Casford Tigers, then another home win against KR, and last week that sensational performance against the Saints. Could they go 4 from 4? Can they get one over on one of their, one of their biggest nemesis, actually, because they don't have a very good record against the Wigan Warriors, it must be said. But there's no doubt about it. Let's go and get all of the updates. Let's hear from the 2 coaches. But before that, let's do this.
Test in the middle. St Helens defenders out.
Last one. Sneed again. Here is Laffey. Again. Here is Laffey. Laffey for Cross. Brilliant from Laffey. And Dion Cross.
We have an environment where we look inwards first, and we just maintain a standard and a belief within that group. But we don't overly focus. We're not at war with every man and his dog here. We're just worried about us and what we do and how we perform and what our standards are and what our culture's like. Being good lads and making sure we're a supportive group of one another, and we hold each other accountable. And when you've got attributes like that, then you've got a decent starting point.
Regardless of just that one game, I think we have a massive amount of respect for Salford. Obviously, there's a lot of ex-Wigan players in the club. And for me personally, I think Paul Rowley does an excellent job. Since I've had this job, some of our most intense games have been against Salford. And the way they play, the way they move the ball, is outstanding. All his teams have done that over the years. But I think their commitment to defence as well, the scramble defence, the kick chase, they're clearly a group of players who are committed to one another, to Paul as a coach and to the Salford club. So I think he should be commended, they should be commended. And the best mark of Paul as a coach is every player who goes there, he seems to get the best out of them. So credit to him for that.
This is no surprise. We knew that this would come sooner or later, and it's hit us. It was always going to be a tough period. Wigan and Saints together, two obviously physically tough teams, and so this is we're going to hit a challenging period now, and we need our fans more than ever now to encourage the boys and get here. They've put a stint in there. I think we've proved when we're healthy that we can compete, more than compete. We can beat anybody when we're healthy. But I guess when at the moments when we're not going to be healthy, then that's the cry for some support. Of our fans who've been fantastic. But we'll need you more than ever this week and for the next few weeks, I think. Yeah, so it's our ground. Wigan will travel really well. They've got fantastic fans as well. They're on an absolute high, being world champions. The form's great, the squad's great. There's a lot of noise about Wigan, rightly so. They've done a fantastic job of building a powerhouse club. They've always have been that, but I think they've took that to a different level now, haven't they? So we fully respect that, and that's aspirational for everybody. So, like I said, they will travel in numbers. They're enjoying their journey at the minute, their supporters. So I've got no doubt that our fans will step up. And like I said before, we'll need some noise because they'll be a noisy bunch, the Wiganers, and we need to be able to match that and put our best voices on.
Yeah, a bit surreal. A little bit surreal, like I say, being away for a few years, but if everything's kind of still where it was, and there's some faces here that I still recognise, so it's good to come back. Yeah, massively. I remember when I left, it kind of reignited my love for the game again. Coming here after a few not so great years previous to my time coming in, and like I said, we had a lot of success, great group, very similar feel walking in today as when I did back then. Real tight group, and the same sort of ethos where everyone works for everything that you've got. Hopefully, this time a bit of experience. I think got a few greys in the beard and a little less hair on top than even before. So yeah, a bit of experience and just the same sort of stuff I did last time.
So as always, Super League Raw doing the hard graft for you, bringing you all the great stories from around the ground. All you have to do is tune in every Monday and Thursday for Super League Raw news. These are the squads. What was Paul Rowley talking about? Well, yes, injuries have started to bite a little bit. He expected this, and it's bit a little bit. He will be a lot happier having Gil Dudson in from the Warrington Wolves. And for the Eagle Eye amongst you, there he is, David Nofaluma. He is in the squad as well. After failing his HIA in that collision with Morgan Knowles last week, Cade Cust is out, as too is Brad Singleton and Chris Hankinson. So they are out of the squad. As for the Wigan Warriors, well, they've won the last 9 meetings against the Salford Red Devils and remain unbeaten, of course, this year. He's made 2 changes to his squad since that game against London. Back is Liam Byrne and Liam Marshall in the place of Jacob Douglas and Jack Ferryman. That is the way these two line up. It should be an absolute belter. We know that Salford have got enough on the edges concern Wigan, but will Wigan's dominance down the middle, looking at their pack, is that going to be the difference? You've got to tune in. 8 o'clock tonight, Sky Sports. Well, of course, that's kickoff. All the build-up starts from 7:30. Make sure you are there for that one. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Right, we're not going to be reviewing in this show the Leeds Saints game. Why? Because it's game of the week and it's coming in the morning. Yes, our game of the week, 30-minute preview of the best game of round number 5. That's coming tomorrow morning, Leeds Rhinos against the Saints. And yes, we will give you all of the in-depth analysis going into that one tomorrow. Don't worry about that. Let's now go to the MKM Stadium. Hull FC are going to be taking on the Lee Leopards. Tony Smith has been talking about having no hesitation whatsoever about bringing the young guys in. Of course, he's got quite a few problems going into this game. They've got players, it says there this week, we've got players coming back from injury and suspension, so I don't see much necessity to go out and explore the market, is what Tony said. Danny Houghton could reach a staggering 400th career appearance in this one for the Black and White. 6 changes. Liam Sutcliffe, Franklin Pelly and Jack Brown have all returned after their suspensions. Liam Tyndall included and could make his debut as well. Cam Scott could also return from a calf injury, which sidelined him in round number 1, and Matty Laidlow as well is in the squad. Adrian Lamb has been talking prior to their travel to the MKM.
There is some concern over Tom Amone. He's hurt his foot in the game, and we didn't think it was that bad initially, but we're getting scans. You got scans yesterday, so we're waiting as we speak now for the results on that. So fingers crossed that's okay, but it's looking like a little bit more trouble for us, but we'll handle that once we receive any news on that. It is, absolutely it is. It gives you confidence, and from confidence, your performances improve, and the group develops and gets to where you need to get to quicker. But I know it's going to take some time to get there, and it probably a little bit longer now without your key players there. But I think we've got to make sure that the senior players that are in the group, they've played their best games and make sure that they lead from the front. So, I'm confident that we can string together an 80-minute performance in which we need to. It's a tough ask for any club or any team to go up to Hull and win up there. And I know they've had their own issues during the start of the season as well. So we've just got to make sure we take care of ourselves, make sure the attitude's right, and go there with a team that we feel can get the job done.
Dwyer, here's Moylan, and they're creating numbers again here, and it is a terrific try on that right-hand side from a man on his home debut. Amila Handley plunges in.
He was one of the players that certainly stood out in pre-season for me and deserved a start, and was unlucky to miss out on our first 17 team. But I thought his performance the other night was really strong. I think he's going to get better every week if he plays there, and once he gets that trust and that feeling that he belongs in Super League and in our team, I think he'll go to another level. But, there was a couple of small mistakes he made the other night that we've had conversations and chat about, and that's part of his development growing. I'm sure he'll sort that out. But yeah, and these are the opportunities that we get when the senior players get injured like they've been. So Yamola might not have got that opportunity before that, but by doing that, I thought he was outstanding and probably one of the best players on the field.
We couldn't agree more there with Adrian Lam. Yamala Hanley, what a performance in his home debut. A try, two clean breaks, 2 tackleables, 18 carries for 164 metres, 9.11 is average. Right, let's take a look at the 2 squads going into this. We've already had a good chat there about Hull FC. Jack Walker, of course, out for a considerable amount of time. He's pulled his hamstring. Jack Ashworth is going to be out for a 2-match suspension. We saw in the highlight reel from round number 4 there his yellow card against Chris Satai, which has earned him that 2-match ban. David Litton out again. I mean, David Litton, everybody expected big things from him in this season. At the moment, not featuring for whatever reason in Tony Smith's plans. And Daniil Balmforth also out as well, of course, as Joe Bullock. But great news to have Tyndall. He could perhaps make his debut in this one. SA had a fine game at the Catalan Dragons. We've already talked about the irresistible Danny Houghton, of course. Pele is in the squad there. Now, we heard that Franklin Pele was going to be out for a period of time. Is that a red herring there from Tony Smith? Ockenbaugh, Sow Lane, it's a decent enough looking side. And they're going up against a Lee Leopard side that is severely hampered. Who'd have thought this? There is a big chance this weekend that all 4 of the Lee Leopards dream teamers from last year will be missing. Tom Amone, Lachlan Lamb, Edwin Ipape, and John Asiata. Lamb not expected to play this one. He's in the squad. He's more likely to feature in a week's time in the Challenge Cup, potentially. If not the Challenge Cup, the week after that when they go away to Salford Red Devils. And you heard there concerns over Tom Amone. Now, the fact that right at the end of that interview, he did say it's looking like trouble. We're hearing that it could be big trouble for Tom Amone. Do not be surprised if he is not on the park at the MKM and more comes out after that game as to what the issues are, perhaps with Tom Amone. Could be wrong, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I just get the feeling all is not right with Tom Amone as well, and that will be a hammer blow for the Lee Leopards. They'll have to go and do it tough. Neither of these 2 sides are in great form. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed to see who gets the better of this one at the MKM Stadium. Right, before we look at the final 2 games, like I say, the London and the Warrington one, not much has come out on that one. We're doing Game of the Week, Leeds Saints, tomorrow. Our next in-conversation guest is Oliver Partington. And as fans, sometimes you might think, what do players really think of us? This is a bit of a heartwarming moment. Let Ollie take it away.
Testing.
Perhaps not that particular video. Let's do it properly. This is Ollie. Salford next, but as a professional, I mean, one of the things that I love about our game, and I hope we never lose it, is that at full time, you as the professionals go and properly salute the fans. And I'll say that this isn't a clap that's not even a clap. I'll just tap my wrist and I'll walk off. Dare I say it, as footballers do. This is a proper let's go over, let's have photos talk, let's again, inspire the kids. You're their heroes. That you are. My lad's 10. His heroes, Matty Ashton. You're their heroes, and you give the fans the time. Sometimes you're out there 10, 15 minutes after kickoff. We cannot lose that, can we, as a sport?
No, I think it's massive that connection that rugby league players have with fans. I think it's just because they're all so down to earth and normal. I don't think there's any players who are above any of the fans. I mean, if I see any fans out and about, I'm always willing to speak to them, have a chat with them, and I know everyone else is. So I think we can't lose that because that is very appealing to the game. As you say, with football, I don't have that access to the players, and yeah, I have people from my club messaging me all the time trying to get me down here and there. So like I said earlier with the presentation, I would never say no to them. Yeah, I do think it's a massive part of our game that we interact with the fans as much as possible, because at the end of the day, they are paying our wages and they're spending their hard-earned money to watch us when they don't have to.
Absolutely. And can you remember your first autograph? Can you remember the first time you asked for your autograph?
They still feel weird now, giving them out. I still feel like, why do they want my signature? But yeah, it's part of the game. I suppose lads felt like that when I was asking for those back in the day. So yeah, it's a good feeling, but it still feels weird to do it.
It's a great interview with Ollie Patterson. That will be uploaded on our YouTube page at 8 p.m. on Wednesday night and will also be available for download on Amazon, Apple and Spotify at the same time if you'd like to listen to it. People like Oliver Partington, we don't hear an awful lot from them, do we? You know, it tends to be, dare I say it, the glamour players. I thoroughly enjoyed spending that hour with Ollie discussing his career. He comes across as a champion fella. Make sure you tune in for that one. Right, Huddersfield will be hosting Hull KR. Both of these two teams have won 2, lost 2. KR at the moment, I mean, like I say, big questions over KR. They need to bounce back in this one. And they're coming up against the Huddersfield side that, let's be fair, were red hot against the poor Castleford Tigers. It has to be said, there was some lovely, easy on the eye try moments in that game. We're going to relive some of them, and then we're going to hear from Mr. Willie Peters.
Now, little chip over the top. If he gets the bounce, he's in. He does get the bounce, and he's in. The only question will be about the if they move it. The Giants surely they score in the corner. Hewitt fancies it. He gets there. Sam Hewitt crashes on. He's pumping off tackles, and they're going again here. The Giants ball back on the inside. Has Lollahayer got the pace? Lollahayer pulling away. He passes it. Gets it away to the goal.
I think, as I say, being consistent for 80. I know it could be cliche, but it is. Like what we're doing at the moment, we're playing in patches, and there's patches. For example, the start of the game last week when we were 10-0 down, compared to what we did the majority of that second half, it was a totally different team. So we need to be more consistent with. I spoke at the start of the year about our best and worst performances not being too far away. It's the same when you're in the game. When you do lose momentum in games, or you're not gaining field position, all that sort of stuff. You can't have your best and worst too far away. And I think we had that in the weekend. We started off poorly and then found a way to get back in, and then we had those 2 tries late in that first half. So there's some inconsistencies there. Whether it's concentration or just, as I say, at times, is it our discipline? Is it lack of defending an error? And that's probably what I look more so the back end is, if we do have an error, we defend it. But like on the weekend, they scored a try late in that first half, and then they scored off the next set. Like you can't have that. And if you have that in games, then you're going to have lopsided sort of results. So we just need to be more consistent. I said at the start of the year, it's an even competition. You have a look at Huddersfield last year. I mean, they didn't finish high on the ladder, but if you break the games down, and they did have injuries to key positions, they're always thereabouts, and they put themselves in the fight. There's no doubt about that. Where they've improved this year is they're certainly asking more questions with the ball. They are moving the ball extremely well, and they've got a pretty good balance of doing that and playing physical. So, they're an effort-based team like us. They pride themselves on effort. They compete hard, and as I said, they ask a fair few questions with the ball. So, they're a good team.
And from their recruitment side, someone who has already stuck out really is Adam Swift out on the wing, because he hit the ground running with 3 tries already. Yeah,
he's a good player. Yeah, I liked him last year when he was at FC. Obviously, going to Huddersfield is a really good pickup for them. He's a good finisher. He runs hard. Overall, he's a very good winger.
And again, we can't disagree with you, Willie. He is absolutely brilliant, but so too last week was Sam Hall, so you'll need to be careful with him as well this week. Good interview, that one with Willie Peters. Get yourself over to Hull KR's YouTube channel for the full interview. Defends Peter Hiku to the hilt in that one. Well worth a watch. Right, let's take a look at these two squads going into that game. Adam Milner, as you can see, returns to the side. And here's one for you. A former In the Conversation guest in Chris Hill. He could make his 300th career appearance in this game, and Jake Connor his 200th. Some great numbers there. Congratulations to both of them. They have given us some fine entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, over the years as well. You'll see that Jake Bibby, we spoke about him, he's in the squad as well, in the place of Elliot Wallace, and Harry Rushton is once again in the squad. Willie Peters, unlike Adrian Lamb and Tony Smith, well, he's living in dreamland at the moment. No real injury concerns for him. He takes a fully fit squad to the John Smith Stadium. They will definitely be wanting to bounce back in this one. It should be a fascinating game. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it will be a really good game. Can the Robins stop their losing streak, or will Huddersfield go again. They certainly had enough practice, didn't they, against Castleford to get those combinations right. It's going to be very interesting indeed to see how they rock and roll in this one. Right, the final game, of course, is Catalan Dragons hosting Castleford Tigers. Of all the places for Castleford to go, you wouldn't want it to be Craig Lingard going into this one, would you? Let's hear from him before this game.
Borg digs out of one, gets out of another. Has Artem Borg gone over? That is
I'm loving my time here. I think we've got an awesome team and awesome staff. Really enjoying my time in Perpignan, and hopefully we can keep playing well and keep improving. The round one game playing on the field was really exciting to run out to the crowd and hear the music. The fans are a lot closer to the field than what I'm used to, which is cool because you can hear them calling out your name and stuff. And on the weekend I didn't play. I got to sit in the stands with the crowd, and they really enjoyed the atmosphere, and I think it makes you want to play better for them. So yeah, it's really cool. I was almost ready to play last week. Wasn't quite ready, but I'm good to go this week, and really excited to get to play at Brutus again. We went into the game wanting to improve on our attack, and I think we did that. Still plenty of parts of our game that we need to fix. Some penalties and stuff that we don't want to be conceding, but I think we are trending in the right direction. You're never going to be perfect, but if we keep improving each game, then we're going the right way. So it's exciting.
No, it's been good. We've had some real honest conversations about our standards and what's not acceptable, and there's certainly some things that are going to change this week in terms of personnel because it's what it needed. But it's been a productive week, and hopefully the performance of the weekend will reflect the productive week that we've had this week. With the squad that we've got, we're going to get days like that because we've got 70% of our squad, around about 70% of our squad that aren't experienced Super League players. So that's a decision we've made as a club this year, is that we're concentrating the efforts off the field on the IMG and making sure that the future of the club's safeguarded in Super League, which is the right thing to do. And then there is a plan in place. Next year we're aiming to bring in some more senior players in the same the year after. So the players that we're developing this year, they might play 15-20 Super League games, and then next year another 15-20 Super League games, the year after another 15-20. So at the end of that sort of 2-3 year period, then the players that we're developing this year have hopefully played between 50 and 60 Super League games, and the players that we're looking to add around them, it's going to make us a bit more of a different proposition. But we've got to make sure that this year that we develop these players, and we can't panic straight away as soon as you have a bad performance. We know what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. The games that we've had this year, the first 3 games have been really positive parts in every single game, but the Huddersfield game weren't acceptable by any standards, and we've made the players know that, and the players know that themselves. And if the performance isn't acceptable, then things have to change. So there's people that are dropping out of the team this week. There were guys that dropped out of the first team and played in the reserves at Huddersfield on the Saturday, and I thought the attitude and the application, the performance were outstanding. So them guys are getting rewarded. They're coming into the first team. So the players that are dropping out know that if the performance isn't good enough, or their application and the attitude isn't good enough, they're going to drop down to reserves or go out somewhere else and play. And that's the standards that we've got to develop. And we're going to have bad days in the season because of the makeup of the squad that we've got. And that's just how it is, and we've got to deal with that. And it's about coming through the other side of the week after and making sure we don't replicate the mistakes we made the previous week. Strong team out there, they're probably going to come after us down the middle because that's what they've got. They've got some real big middles. So we're expecting a real tough battle down that middle, particularly with them coming out of yardage. So we're going to have to control their big units coming down the middle of the field. But then obviously they've got some strike and some pace and some quality on the edges, particularly in their half-backs as well. So it's going to be a tough competition. It's going to be a tough contest for us, but it's one that we relish, and it's one that we're going out over there to give it as best shot and hopefully put on a real good performance.
It's crystal clear that Craig Lingard was not happy at all last week with the way in which his Castleford Tigers performed against Huddersfield Giants, saying there that he's going to be bringing the changes for this one. A lot of question marks from the Castleford Tigers fans around Luke Hooley after that game. I think Sam Wood's been pretty solid from this season. In his senior, played well against Huddersfield. You couldn't really fault him. Jacob Miller, I think he's having a good season for Castleford. You've got to give him his due, as to Joe Westerman. It's going to be very interesting indeed. Don't be surprised if you see Kane Robb in this team this weekend. He got named in dispatches. Sylvester Namo, he's dropped out. By his own admission, Craig Lingard said perhaps he put him in too soon. He probably is going to get a bit of reserve action to get him back up to fitness. As for the Catalan Dragons, well, there it is. Artur Morgan, fullback. Of course, no Nicarima. That's a big blow for the league as well as for the Catalan Dragons, because he has been simply sensational. No Mickey McAlorum as well. Of course, he will be serving his final suspension game. Alvix de Costa and Chris Satai out because of their failed HIAs from last week. No Romano as well. Bailey Surinam, we heard from him there, and Cesar Rouge are back in the squad for this one. And of course, a couple of French players there, Fernandez and Aspiro Brichet, who you might not have heard of. They have been drafted in by Steve McNamara. And you'll also notice that Elza Kem is also not in the Castleford squad, even. Nobody really giving Castleford much of a chance in this one. I found what was interesting as well in that press conference, Craig Lingard almost suggesting it's a London project, that actually it's all about getting things in place off the field, securing their future in Super League, and perhaps actually what happens on the field isn't as important. I mean, I don't know about you, Castleford Tigers fans, but did you get that memo? I don't think they'll be very happy to hear about that. There was a little bit of an inkling there that actually, you know what, it's not really about what we do on the field this season. It's about what we do off it. Wrong message, I'm afraid. I don't know. I could be reading that wrong. What are your thoughts on that? Really interesting press conference. That's 2 press conferences in a row now where I think Craig Lingard has been really interesting. For those comments in this one, and of course the way that he came out fighting about his players in the dressing room after that defeat against Huddersfield, it's going to be interesting, isn't it, to see how that one transpires. Why, there you go. There's another news update for you. It's come and it's gone. As we said, come on. It's never been a better time to become a member here at Super League Raw. Get over to our Patreon website. £2.99 a month. That's the opening gambit. That's how much it costs to become a member. You can look at the other benefits of the other packages as well. But we are going to be giving away 2 Challenge Cup final tickets for the 8th of June. You want to be in that draw. At the moment, you've got a 1 in 23 chance of winning. That's it. We expect that to change over the next few weeks. But as we, when you consider other competitions, radio competitions, competitions in magazines, you've got a far better chance statistically of winning these tickets than anywhere else at the moment in Super League. We've already given away £25 worth of club shop vouchers, and throughout the season, we're going to be giving away more prizes. You really do need to be a part of the Super League Raw family. It's a growing community. You will not regret it. It really is starting to take shape. And of course, don't forget the quiz on the 15th of April. We hope you go into the games. We really do. Round number 5, Super League continues to deliver week on week. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back with a news update, as always, on Monday. Don't forget the Final Whistle podcast for round number 5. We'll be debating all round 5. That will be out as a podcast Monday morning for you into work. You'll be able to download it on Amazon, Apple, and Spotify. Don't miss the Final Whistle podcast. And, of course, tomorrow morning, Game of the Week, will upload the full in-depth analysis of the Leeds Saints game, and all of the In the Sheds will be coming your way throughout the weekend. Super League Raw just keeps delivering you content week in, week out, day by the hour. Please become a member. We need your support. Until next Monday, that's been Super League Raw News. Enjoy your Rugby League this weekend. Bye for now.